At this time, we're back. Jason is here with me. Jason and I work together at KIPP. We're in the thick of recruitment season. Jason, what are you spending most of your time trying to think about with recruitment these days?
Yeah, two things, mainly focusing on keeping people on staff for our expanding learning program. And then right now we're focusing on bringing in special education assistants for some of our programs. That's a position that's in high need. So that's kind of our main focus right now.
Now, you recruit for and staff an interesting profile of folks. So, this expanded learning program, for folks that don't know, is our after school program. So, doing really key, fun work with our kiddos after the core school day ends. And so, the majority of folks you end up engaging with the candidates might be newer in their careers or a little bit younger. How do you think through trying to, first of all, like attract them to the role in the first place, but then also how you try to get them through a process when they might not have been through many job processes in their life to date?
Yeah. As far as attracting them, I try to frame it as, something that can give them a stepping stone into education if that's, if they're earlier in their career. It's a great first opportunity to get, hands-on experience, learning how to work with students, work on campus. But also I also try to frame it as it's flexible because of the schedule. If they're going to school, they're still able to go to their classes and still have a part-time job where they're still pursuing their career. Or if they have another job that, is in the morning. Maybe they already work at a school, but they work in the mornings. So they can pair that up and maybe create a full-time job out of two jobs. So as far as that attraction goes, that's kind of how I try to frame it. As far as trying to get them through, I try to kind of just prepare them for, different scenarios and how they'd handle, maybe challenging student behaviors or situations, how they, manage a small 10 student classroom, kind of just prepare them to let them know that they're basically a teacher for a small class. So how they're going to prepare their lessons, how they're going to manage a classroom.
You've done so many interviews at this point. Which questions do you find the most helpful to you as you're deciding if someone should move forward or not?
Yeah. Sometimes just the basic question of, just tell me your experience working with students. Um, that sometimes is a stumper for some people that haven't had it, right? And that can kind of weed out some people that, are not ready quite. But on the other hand, another question I try to ask is, sometimes I'll change the scenario, but, I'll try to give them a scenario like, how would you handle a student not following your directions? Or how would you handle two students arguing or kind of not behaving as they would? How would you handle that situation? Because even though they might not have the perfect answer, I still want to see how they're thinking through it, how they would approach the situation, even if, that's not exactly how we'd want them to handle it. But I still want to see, can they think through some things? Because it's going to be different scenarios all the time. It's not a one size fits all. So especially working with kids, something else I try to ask is, what potentially could they teach? What kind of enrichment activity could they see themselves teaching? I still want to see, maybe they're not like, they don't have a bunch of ideas, but, do they have something in mind that they could potentially, provide some opportunities for students to learn something new?
That's interesting. One of the other unique parts of your role is you are working with all 20 of our schools at the same time. Most of us have a smaller portfolio. What are you doing to work through so many hiring manager personalities and kind of manage all those twists and turns with folks because you have so many? That's definitely unique to our team.
Yeah. I think, there's no replacement for time. The longer I work with the managers, the more I learn about them, the more they learn about me. And also I start learning about their specific needs at their schools. So I think just, through, frequent conversations, constantly being in contact with them, and also sometimes get an opportunity to visit the school site, to see the program, to see what's kind of going on. And maybe some of the challenges or some of the good things that are going on kind of helps me understand what's happening. Allows me to serve them better. Some schools, have different enrichment activities or have different interests of their students as far as the enrichment activities they offer in the after school program. So that always helps me know, if this school is offering, a gaming club, for example, because that's where a lot of the students are interested versus another school, has a lot of sports interest. That helps me kind of understand what's going on there. So I think just connecting as much as I can, whether it's in person or, virtually, is kind of, there's no replacement for it.
I'm not sure I know the story. How did you end up in talent in the first place?
Yeah, so actually, I was working at a different charter school as a PE instructor before, and then through just a mutual connection, I heard that they were hiring for a talent coordinator at a robotics tech company, And, I'd always, I've known a couple people that done recruiting, and I was just kind of like, hey, let them know I'm interested. Kind of wanted to try something new. I didn't feel like I had as much growth in my previous position. So that's kind of just how I just interviewed for it, blindly, and I did well. And it was hard at first. It was a super big transition. I was scheduling like 30, 40 interviews a day, emailing all day from, 9 to 5. So it was a big transition. It was a super fast paced environment, but I ended up liking it after I caught the swing of things. And yeah, I was kind of just kept on going with it. I enjoyed it. I enjoy the fast pace, and I enjoy the competition as well.
Yeah. And for people in your life, friends, family, when they know you're in town, do they ask you for job advice, or what does my resume look like? Any tips? Does that come up much?
It comes up randomly, but not a lot. Like most of the people that I'm in contact with, they're kind of pretty stable in their jobs. But recently there was someone that was actually looking for a teaching job, and we were talking about it because they were having a hard time getting interviews. So we kind of just talked about obviously KIPP. I try to sell them on KIPP first, but yeah. So it's kind of just it doesn't happen as often as you think.
Interesting. Last thing most people have on the pod, we end up talking or speculating about AI. Where do you think talent in AI is going to take us in the next 12 to 24 months?
Yeah. I think a lot of people are scared that it's going to take our jobs, but I don't think I think that's going to happen because of what we talked about before, is that connection, that human connection is still super important. We're hiring people, we're bringing on people to work with people. So I don't think that's going to go away, but I think it's going to help us be more efficient in general in our jobs. It'll allow us to do more. And I think it'll open up more opportunity for us to connect in person with people rather than always being behind a computer. I think it'll open up more time for us. So that way we can be more aware of what's going on at schools, or, if it's a different industry, what's going on the ground. So I think it'll just open up more time for the professionals in there. I think what I was working on before is in our AI thing that, we worked on before, opening up more time for like interviewers, like if they're interviewing somebody, having AI help them, come up with relevant questions to ask. So that way they're not spending a lot of time, trying to think of, looking, obviously I have to look through the resume, but trying to think of, different questions to ask, and just having AI help prepare them for interviews. So that way they can focus on that actual interview and building that connection rather than, worrying about, planning ahead of time.
Yeah.
So things like that.
If folks want to send you applications, if they want to work with you, what's the best way for them to do that as we close out here?
Yeah, so you can email me directly at jalagha@kippsocal.org, or if they want to visit our career page. I don't know if you'd link it to this, or
we can add it in the episode description for sure.
Yeah, so if they want to apply to our after school program, expanded learning instructor positions, or we also have our expanded learning special education assistant positions, and we have our expanded learning program assistant position, which are basically the right-hand person of the program manager. So a lot of opportunity in the program.
Yeah, we're hiring for roles for immediate start. We're also already looking at next school year. Folks are thinking about that already too. And actually, even folks could start towards the end of the school year and work in the summer and have that be the starting point. So open 24 hours. Stop by anytime. We'll come take care of you. All right, Jason, good to see you. Thanks for hopping on. Thanks everyone for listening. Catch all past episodes, all the places you get your podcast. And don't forget to catch Jason and I in stunning 4K on YouTube. Until then, we'll catch you soon.